Good morning, everyone. My name is John McDermott, and I work at the Institute for Human Development in Flagstaff, Arizona. We are a USED located on NAU's campus. Please come visit us at nau.edu/sbs/IHD. I'm going to put that link into the chat box. Also, you can visit our website for the AIVRTTAC program at the link in the website as well. This is a listen-only webinar. If you have any questions or comments, please utilize the chat pod. Towards the top of some of the pods, you'll see an icon with 4 arrows, and this will allow for the full screen mode for that particular pod on your device or computer. Also, at the middle right of your screen, you'll see a file share pod. These are files that you can download for reference. Please, if you have any questions, email AIVRTTAC@nau.edu, and I'll place that in the chat area as well. And finally, we'll be recording the webinar today to archive on our AIVRTTAC YouTube channel. That being said, we want to welcome you to the What is Program Evaluation Good For NOA webinar, brought to you by the Institute for Human Development and AIVRTTAC. This is the first in a sequence of 3 events, and we'd like to introduce the topic through the webinar, and then invite you to an online community of practice, and then follow up with a follow-up webinar that will serve as the final look on the topic. Today's presenters are Lee Gashioma and Suzanne Malson. I'm going to activate their microphone, and I'm going to pass it off to them. Have a great webinar. Thank you.
You're on. You're on.
Good morning. It's great to see you signing in to participate in the program evaluation webinar. Before we get started, I'd like to formally introduce our newest staff member, Suzanne Malson, as the VR Training and TA Specialist. Suzanne is the former director of the Fort Mojave Indian Tribal VR program in the tri-state area of Arizona, California, and Nevada. We will not start this morning until we see that everyone who has signed up for the webinar is signed in. Please keep us informed about the technology you are experiencing. This webinar is an introduction to program evaluation, which will be followed by a live community of practice discussion. The discussion provides us an opportunity to address in more detail questions and comments raised during this webinar. In addition, we will have the opportunity to share our knowledge and experience in program evaluation. From the community of practice, we will develop and conduct a follow-up webinar that is more in-depth. Please remember to complete the survey at the conclusion of our presentation.
Good morning. Well, as you can see, the cartoon we have posted, and the director or the program manager is saying, yay! So who else is excited about this program? However, look at the other participants. It appears that the only excited person is the director or manager of the program, and the staff and or consumers are not sharing this same enthusiasm. Why? As leaders, we need to engage our consumers and staff to be part of the achieving the purpose of the program in order to initiate their excitement and commitment. This is hard. Let me have the feedback. This is the next one. Go ahead. This introduction, starting with this slide and proceeding with the next 4 slides, will set the framework for the program evaluation webinar. No, you're good.
The first one is determine the overall effectiveness of the tribal VR programs in meeting their goals and objectives. The second one is determine at what level of quality program services are being implemented. The next one reads, identify strengths and weaknesses in program implementation and effectiveness. And the last one, the program evaluation analysis is the change agent required for program development.
Words that describe evaluation. So now let's look at some descriptive words for the term evaluation. For example, the word appraise, and how does that link in with the term evaluation and with the process of program evaluation? Appraise is one way of telling the story.
The learning objectives for this particular webinar are: number 1, understand the purpose of program evaluation. Number 2, make distinction in the required AIVRS performance reports. Number 3, be able to work through the program evaluation process, methods, and analysis. Number 4, identify qualitative and quantitative data methods. Number 5, understand formative and summative evaluation methods. Number 6, utilize basic descriptive statistics to enhance the AIVRS annual report, the 5-year AIVRS report, and any other required tribal reports. And number 7, become familiar with sources of data for program evaluation.
What is program evaluation good for anyway? What do you see here this morning in this picture? Oftentimes, when we're unsure about assessing our program outcomes, we don't know where to start and everything is blurred. So we want to fix that. So this cartoon says, hey guys, did you read this part? It basically says we need an evaluation to keep getting money. We hope that you find this cartoon humorous, because many of us find program evaluation a daunting task to prove our worthiness for continued funding. Don't you agree? I need to apologize. I'm hearing feedback, and so I can't get my tongue and my ears together. I apologize.
AIVRS programs are recipients of federal grant dollars. Evaluations prove that your program is credible. 21st century challenges, what are they?
Well, this cartoon, this gentleman, we're going to call him Irv, we decided to build our dashboard in Excel. So Mary Lou is looking at him and saying, you don't know the new tools, so you decide to spend lots of time developing an inferior product. The challenge as AIRS program directors is to produce an annual report in timely manner. So we should be questioning ourselves. Are we working in the program, developing a database software, instead of working on assessing the program, outcomes, and preparing the necessary reports?
To encounter the 21st century challenges of dwindling resources, AIVRTTAC and RSA partner with the AIVRS programs to develop sustainable programs.
As we look at this circular document, it's reference to the AIRS grant design in achieving its purpose. This diagram demonstrates the process to the funder on how AIRS programs will evaluate its goals, objectives, and outcomes that will be explained in the next slides.
The purpose of an AIVRS program, number 1, is to solve a problem, the impact of the program services. A developed plan to serve American Indians with disability in preparation for gainful employment. Develop specific goals and objectives to measure the effect of VR services on employment outcome. To fulfill a need, another impact outcome. Partnership with service providers to leverage resources. A program designed to maximize its resources and not duplicate services. To achieve its intended benefit, the outcome, consumers are served based on informed choice in a timely manner to achieve vocational goals, and impact on our consumers' economic self-sufficiency.
I lost, oh, there. This cartoon clearly portrays the balancing act that all AIVRS programs experience, along with all the stressors, pressures of performing at all levels to satisfy program requirements. Keywords that we're looking at: accountability and proof, hence the need for evaluation, and learning and improve, hence what did we learn from our program evaluation, and how will we use that to improve our program.
Data sources may include numbers of applicants, number of individualized plan for employment from your case management software. You can also data gathering through your program outreach activities, for example, through your annual disability awareness for the community members and service providers, and also providing cultural awareness to increase the understanding of the needs of tribal members with disabilities to prepare for gainful employment. Other methods of data collection include community education, the program presentation at the tribal and local functions. It's extremely important to partner and meet with your local primary employers, and to consider the idea of also partnering with the State Independent Living Councils and the State Rehabilitation Council. And as required by the funding agency, each AIVRS program is expected to implement its cooperative agreement with state VR agencies in serving tribal consumers, partnering for training, partnering for conducting assessments. It's a couple of examples.
This one? Mm-hmm. Qualitative data consists of numbers and quantity, closed-ended questions, limited choice to provide answers, number of consumers served and employed. Qualitative looks at quality, open-ended questions, unlimited choice in answers, and you can find those in focus groups. Time-consuming but worthwhile. And you do this all the time in your programs through when you meet with your consumer is the qualitative part. The quantitative part is when you entered it into your data source. What are you using to gather and manage program data?
Case management and software. Questions to ask yourself: what case management tool is your program using to collect accurate, feasible, and appropriate data? Are you using DataOps, Aware, or an Excel database? Are your methods providing performance feedback? Is your method producing quantitative and qualitative data? Do you submit your annual report in a timely manner?
This slide is not advocating for any vendor. The purpose of this slide is to raise a question in your mind about your process of gathering accurate, feasible, and appropriate data and submitting your annual reports on time. This slide is about quantitative techniques and qualitative techniques. Oh, first day with my now. All right. Quantitative, survey, connection lost. Great. I'm really struggling.
Are we back on?
Are we back on, John?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. Quantitative are through surveys and questionnaires, pre-post tests, existing database, and statistical analysis. Qualitative, observation, interviews, focus groups, and non-statistical methods. Okay.
What I want to also point out is that in reviewing your current grant proposals, the evaluation section, you should be able to read through what evaluation tools you have identified to use as part of your evaluation methods. It will describe whether your evaluation tool is a quantitative or qualitative technique, and whether or not it is including summative and or formative evaluation.
How do AIVRS programs evaluate? This is an example of a practice to assist AIVRS programs in the development of an evaluation plan, and the next slides will go into detail.
Step 1, AIVRS purpose statement. We should all be familiar with this particular purpose statement. To serve tribal members with disabilities who reside on or near designated service areas, consistent with individual strengths, priorities, concerns, abilities, capabilities, and more importantly, informed choice, to prepare for and engage in high-quality competitive employment that will increase opportunities for economic self-sufficiency and self-employment, including telecommunicating.
And something to remember is that communicating this purpose statement is extremely important in order for you to promote program services in your communities.
Step number 2, evaluation methods. These are giving you ideas of 2 different types of evaluation designs that you can include into your program evaluation. Formative evaluation is an ongoing process, a management tool for program improvement while the program is still in progress. Summative, your final evaluation, overall appraisal at the end of the project period.
Step 3, source of data. So stakeholders, these are extremely important people in your program's existence. You have the RSA, you have tribal government, you have the state RSA, you have other VR community programs such as Goodwill, you have AIVRS directors, staff, consumers, families, and the American Indian community that you live and work in. So I think what is important is that you could always invite these stakeholders to an advisory committee so that they can provide you important information to celebrate your achievements and help you with some challenges.
Step number 4, data collection method. This is a listing of techniques that you can incorporate into your evaluation plan. And I'll just read through the list. Surveys, interviews, observations, focus groups, and coffee cafe, meeting at the local coffee shop, and having an informal discussion or meeting with your consumer, service provider, or family member. Test results, existing documents, your program records, telephone surveys and interviews, face-to-face surveys, and electronic surveys.
Step 5 is data analysis. And after the community of practice discussions, we will explore this slide in depth. For today's purpose, it is just a marker for you to consider on the different types of data analysis that may occur as a result of your program evaluation. In the development and the use of an appropriate and thorough program evaluation, connection lost. Did you want me to read that, or are you going to read
Yes,
it?
yes, you can go ahead and read it.
John, let us know when we can.
You're coming in loud and clear. I'm not sure what's happening on your end,
Oh.
but we can still see you and hear you.
We apologize then. We keep seeing signs that says lost connection. In the development and use of an appropriate and thorough program evaluation method, the data gathering and analysis will assist you in completing the annual AIVRS performance report, highlighting the achievement of your goals and objectives in preparing tribal consumers for gainful employment. Did you want to highlight?
Sure. Demonstrate accountability is important, and that's part of your data gathering to prepare your annual performance report for RSA. It's also an important document to share with your consumers, your community, service providers, and community leaders. Your evaluation data is a good source to use as validating changing attitudes towards individuals with disability in your community. Evaluation data is also important in making programmatic decisions. More and more funders are looking at evidence-based decision-making as part of the program development and implementation. Helping stakeholders. Sharing your data with your key stakeholders is an important part in leveraging resources. For example, with the State VR Agency, the community service providers, state service providers, and other related agencies. Your evaluation data can be used as justification for others to take action. For example, there is always a need to address and advocate increasing employment opportunities for tribal members with disability. This information can be used as addressing an increase in your local workforce development to include tribal members with disabilities. Your data will also provide you with information to explore and investigate problems. Your data source can determine the current magnitude of need for tribal VR services. From that, you can develop your future goals and objectives, and to seek other related funding sources that may be available to the tribe. Influence policy. We still need to see if our tribal government, specifically the Human Resources Department, are including any provisions for tribal members with disability for equal and equitable employment. Another important outcome is to start new thinking. We definitely know that tribal VR has developed into a culture of its own, and we are always in need of finding accurate and current data that will support the need to continue tribal VR programs in our communities. Your evaluation data is also another opportunity to consider other possibilities in expanding and improving your VR services for tribal members with disabilities.
Uh, Thank you for your attention and your patience. On my part, I ask your forgiveness for all of the ums. um, I think Lee did a great job, Lee.
We
Are
both
there any
did.
questions? And don't forget to complete the survey afterwards and be kind. Do sign in on Monday. Maybe well, Lee's great. I'll be better, I hope.
This particular webinar will be followed by the live community of practice discussion on Monday, May the 19th at 10 to 11 a.m. Arizona time. And on May the 27th, from 10 to 11 a.m., we will conduct the second webinar on program evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
There's a question, and I want to address it for
Question
Rachel. And it says, will a recording of the
from
webinar
Rachel.
be emailed to the participants as well?
Yes.
Yes, Rachel, I'll include a
Is
link
he talking to them?
to a
Is
recording
John talking to them?
that you can share
John's
with
talking.
everyone. So we'll go from there. We just need to download the video and upload it to YouTube, and we'll share that. The next question for Mary was, please email the PowerPoint as well. We have right above the chat
you hearing
section, there is
reading?
a
Mary
files
is
pod. If you highlight the file in there, you can download the file to your desktop. And that's the PDF version. If you need specifically the PowerPoint version, we can send that off to you, but that is the PDF version. For Shonda, will this be available on a recorded format? Yes, it will. I will upload it to our AIVRTTAC YouTube channel, and we'll give the opportunity for everyone to watch it on YouTube. If there's another way that you would like the video, we'll be happy to share it with you.
Are there any questions regarding the presentation so that we can expand the discussion on Monday?
What are some of the areas of program evaluation that you would like to discuss in more detail during the community of practice discussion next week, Monday?
Rachel, if you can put your email into the chat area, I'll just send it right off to you right now, and you can have it as an attachment. If anyone has any questions for Suzanne and Lee, please place them in the chat area. They can address some questions right now. Thank you, Rachel. I'll send that right off to you. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the link to the evaluation for the webinar. So if you could visit that right after leaving the webinar, that would be great. Fevronia, I will include you in that email. I'll send out the PDF with all the slides inside there. Thank you for putting your email. Suzanne, we got a lot of thank yous and good jobs.
You're very kind.
I have a hand raised from Krista. Krista, if you wanted to write your question inside the chat area, that'd be great. Serena, if you need the PDF sent to you, please place your email address into the chat area, and I'll take care of that as soon as we're good. Again, I just want to remind you, as the chat area is populating, that this link will bring you to our evaluation.
So on Monday, do you want to talk about types of evaluation, such as formative and summative? Do you want to talk about data gathering, your quantitative and qualitative? What about some of your purposes? What are some of the challenges in your community, in your office community? So Lee, if you were going to talk a little bit more about formative and summative, what would be some of the dialogue to get us started?
What I think would be helpful to the programs is making reference to the program evaluation section that is included in the RSA grant application kit, so that the information will be applicable specific to the requirements that RSA is looking at in the designing of your program evaluation as well as the implementation. I believe we also need to include some discussion on the format of the RSA annual performance report. Are we still
Go. You're able to talk. Go ahead.
okay?
All right, everyone. This is.
We would also be interested.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to place a link into the chat area, and that is for the program evaluation for this webinar. Thank you, Deidre, for picking that out. I had placed the link for the pre-assessment. So this one is currently for the evaluation for this webinar. My apologies. Go ahead, Suzanne.
Okay, so you were saying, Lee, when we interrupted?
What I'm recommending for the community of practice discussion is reviewing the program evaluation section in the RSA grant application and what you have included in your current grant proposal. I feel that it's also important to incorporate a discussion on the use of the RSA annual performance report that the programs are completing. It's important that we also have an understanding that the program evaluation plan that you have developed has considered whether or not the evaluation tools will be implemented internally by the staff, and or if you are considering an external evaluator to come in and conduct an annual program evaluations. Those are some of the things that we typically see in the grant proposal evaluation section.
And I'm concerned about the quantitative aspect of evaluation, since the federal government is looking at the data very closely now. We're also, labor is part of, through the WIOA program. So they're interested in numbers only. So we would like to be able to assist you in paying attention to those particular aspects of evaluation and data gathering.
Excellent. Do any of the participants on the webinar have further questions for Lee and Suzanne?
He said, excellent.
All right, Suzanne, it appears that there are no further questions. I just want to say for everyone, please look out for the invitation to the Community of Practice Online. We'll address any questions that you have. Come to our webinar and we'll talk in depth about any questions. If there are any other questions, we'll sit here on the webinar for another 5 or 10 minutes. Please place them in the chat area. If at all possible, after this webinar, if you could go to the link in the chat area for the evaluation, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Suzanne, I'm going to mute the mic on your end unless there are other questions, and then I'll say the question out loud and unmute the mic.